today is a review of more stuff. All right, so we're gonna do some. I'll do a different type of window. Oops, I just flipped everything upside down. I'll do a different type of window, and then I'll do like a railing. Um, so I don't know. Let's see. What can we do here? Let's let's do a window here on that polygon right there. Alright, so again, doing an extrude inner can create a little subset of polygons which you can then just treat like a shape and squish. I thought it was a little bit too wide for a window. But you know, it's up to your kind of design. Remember, you know, when you go on the internet, um, and you use the Google to type in haunted houses. Be careful because it's near Halloween, and it will come up with weird stuff. You can look at the window design on a lot of these houses. Like, I'm kind of looking at this one. This one's sort of interesting. These are interesting. There's like more panes on the top part, and then there's this kind. So I mean, you know, you can do a wide format window. I just think it was a little too wide. But anyways, you go ahead, and once you've done that, you know, to do the little subframe there, you just do it again, and then hit delete, and then that creates a big fat hole there. And then you use your live selection to, when I zoom in, it's a little bit easier to get these these skinnier polygons. Remember, when you're doing polygon work and you're playing with geometry and all that stuff, and adding and subtracting and deleting and cutting and whatever, extruding, always make sure that you have the polygons selected that you want to work with and not anything else. It is possible that when you're working with this tool down here, it says select only visible elements, so it'll only get what so you can see with your eye. But if that was off, you could technically like X-ray select the whole thing. Like, it would just go right through and select whatever is in your path, even if it's behind those polygons. So you don't really want to do that. Make sure you have the right options on, and that, you know, the last thing you want to do is extrude something or create new geometry on something you don't want. So we'll extrude that out. Remember, I'm using the keyboard shortcut, but create tools, extrude, extrude inner. This is where most of the stuff, line cut, that we're going to be using is. Okay, that we're going to be using right now is, anyways. And then you just have to frame up that window like I did this other one. So I might even be able to like just take a couple of those pieces and select those, and then just kind of use that. So there's some consistency with the thickness of parts and stuff. Always recycle, reuse. That's our motto. And it should be close to the same size since you were doing that other thing. Again, we're not in the inside of the house, so I could be a little sloppy on that side. It doesn't matter. And then we will copy paste. We'll just do it by hand. Copy paste and copy paste. All right, I need to make sure they're all kind of evenly spaced here. Oops, I moved the house, not the part. Okay, good enough. I think this one can come over a little bit better. All right, so copy paste that, and then flip it 90 degrees on the B or the P, whatever one comes first, and then I could go ahead and create like a, oh, it's not wide enough. That's what the problem is right there. Copy paste that. beginning to look like bars. You know, and just do my little window design there. Do I need glass in there? I don't know, maybe, maybe not. What you can do though is, actually let's just use one of those since they're right there. So we'll copy, reuse, recycle, like I was saying. And you can board up your window. Keep selecting the wrong axes. So we'll make a board. We can put an old wood texture on there later. And then we'll kind of move it on to the front here. When you make boards to board up your window, we're going to put a spooky light through one of these things, probably this window, and the light will pass through the areas like a volumetric light, and I don't want to do all the same angles, so let's kind of like adjust that. Copy paste it. So I do want to leave some spaces, but not too many spaces, is basically what I was trying to say. All right, so the light will pass through that and create like neat shadows and stuff like that. And you can put the light coming out the door, however you want. So there's a different type of window. Would I use all these different types of windows? I don't know. I might not be consistent if I did that. So I kind of did two different window designs here just to kind of show you the basics of your window. Otherwise, you don't have to put that much detail into it, just a few little embellishments and stuff like that. All right, now here's the stuff for the posts, so or the railings. So we're gonna go ahead and do this on a new file. We haven't done this yet. Usually I do this by now, but we're going to go to the right side and we're going to do what's called a lathe. And a lathe is a NURB. There's different NURBs in here called lathe and sweep and extrude. What's a NURB? Who knows? It's just like a term they use. But subdivisions and lofts, and they kind of do what they look like. So the icon sort of is trying to teach you. That is tube shaped, hose shaped. This is for flat, custom shapes. And this is for vases and cylindrical shapes and stuff like that. So I'm going to go to my lathe, and I'm going to make with my pen tool, your standard pen tool, I'm going to start, this is the center, the green axis, and the blue is the floor. So you have to start somewhere, and it's basically click and release. And when you want a curve, you hold down your mouse and you drag the handlebar in the shape of the curve and kind of bend it. Whatever direction you drag the little black handlebar in, that's how the curve will flow. And you're going to create like posts to hold up the, you know, the kind of posts you would see holding up like decorative posts, a balcony or some eaves or a railing or whatever. And the closer you keep it to Y, the skinnier it will be, the further this away the fatter it will be. And I started and ended on Y, so it'll be closed. If you don't do that, it'll be, if you left it, if you started right here instead of here, it'll be open. So you kind of want, this is going to be a post. And you can go to your black arrow and you can, you know, edit this until your heart's content. You have other tools up here like spline smooth and stuff like that. That you can go ahead and bend the handlebars and just edit the entire line. Okay. Let's go over to the right tool. We're doing that. Okay. All right. So once I got there's always cleanup because no one ever does this perfect the right way. But the spline goes into the lathe as a child. You can only put one spline into a lathe, and then it becomes a post. We can look at it with grout shading and line, and you can see it. If you're too close to Y, it'll get too thin and look. I can still edit the spline at this point, so I can turn off the lathe, go to that point, kind of move it over a little bit, adjust the handlebars a little bit, make it thicken it up, turn back on the lathe, and fix it. All right, it's really unforgiving of crappy curves. So if you draw your curves, let's do it on this one, and they're a little bit sharp, you'll have these creases that form and it won't look right. Okay, so you have to kind of adjust it. How I got this like little carved look right there is I just clicked. That's just a regular point. I didn't hold down the mouse button. So when you draw this tool, you click for straight line edges, and then for curves you hold down and you drag, and then I just click for a top piece like that, and then the next piece I hold down, and then the next piece I just click and let go, and then the next one I hold down, and that way you can get that kind of a look. It's still connecting to my old, these are all connected to my old spline, because my spline was still selected as I was drawing. So if you want to draw a new spline, you got to deselect the old spline over here, right there. So make sure that is not selected, that's selected, that is not selected. All right, so you want to make sure it's deselected. And it's kind of easy to manipulate. You could always go back to your modeling tool over here, and you can scale it down and then stretch it out, or you can make it stumpy and then scale it up, and you can kind of distort it around to get and edit it to be the way you want. You can even reuse this for the next rail. So I could copy paste that, and then Victorian houses, which are the notorious haunted ones, are very ornate and decorative with their pieces parts, and you can easily make a rail this way for your balcony or your front porch or whatever. And you can take stuff like a cube and flatten that, bring that up, okay, and then I'm going to have to manipulate that a little bit more. You can make a wrought iron gate, which I'm going to show separately, and it's a little bit of a different method. This one's a little bit like kind of simple. The wrought iron gate involves a little bit more work, but there you go. There's my, what would I do with all that stuff? I'd select it, look at how many parts I have. So I'd select it and I'd go to group objects, and then that's a single piece, and then I can now cut it out and go to the Doom and Haunted. Oh, that one's already done. Let's do this one, the one we were working on. Oh, what happened? Did I close that? Oh no, there it is. I don't want to keep that one open. It's file number 73. All right, and then I paste in that null object. Usually you're off like a little bit proportion wise. Also, I need to rotate it. So I'm going to go rotate it on the H 90 degrees, and then I'm going to scale it down. And I will get it adjusted here. I screwed it up. So I can make, like a railing for over here. I just have to get it proportioned correctly, which I didn't do. And it might help if you just made it right here on the spot. That way you can get it proportioned, but it's up to you. Go to a new file. And then I may have to adjust a pieces part like that. This one needs to be, when you scale it, it'll shrink down a little bit. Okay. And I probably could just go ahead and copy paste that. Slide one on over. on the copy, I wouldn't need the last lathe. That. And just stick them together, and ta-da! I need something here too, but I can just copy some pieces. And then ignore that shutter floating in the air, it's haunted. All right, so I might put some posts down here and some decorative stuff down there, and it's, you can see the house starts coming together pretty nicely. Anyways, we'll work on some other pieces like lanterns and other posts and railings, and I don't know what you call them, but they're like little brackets under the eaves of the house that kind of hold it up. So we might do some decorative ones of those, maybe a door and other things like that. All right, see you in class.